Most men destroy attraction before it even begins. They chase, they plead, they linger when they should have walked. Picture a woman turning her face away, her eyes scanning for escape. At that moment, most men collapse, but the rare man rises and walks, and in that very moment, the woman sees not power, but dependence. She sees a man chained, not by love, but by fear of losing what he never truly possessed. You must understand this. Women are not drawn to men who grip tighter when the thread of connection begins to fray. They are drawn to the ones who know when to release their hand, to turn away, to vanish into the silence of their own certainty. The paradox is brutal. The more you cling, the more she withdraws. The more you pursue, the more invisible you become. But the moment you walk away, not in anger, not in resentment, but in unshakable calm, her world shifts. Suddenly, she remembers you. Suddenly, she wonders. Why? Because walking away is not an act of loss. It is an act of self-possession. It is proof that you are not intoxicated by her beauty, enslaved by her approval, or undone by her absence. It signals that your life is larger than her presence, that you carry within you something she cannot touch or control. Picture this. You are in a conversation with her. She tests you with silence, with indifference, with subtle dismissals designed to weigh your spirit. Most men crumble here. They explain themselves. They beg for recognition. They wait for scraps of validation. But you stand, you listen to the silence, and when it stretches too far, you decide, you rise, you leave, and you do not look back. That moment burns itself into her memory like fire. She may not admit it, but respect is forged in that absence. Understand this truth. Attraction is not maintained by what you give. It is maintained by what you are willing to take away. And nothing is more potent than the threat of your presence disappearing. Women remember the man who left, not the one who lingered, not the one who begged. The man who departed with dignity becomes a shadow in her mind, an unanswered question. That question echoes in her nights. Why didn't he need me? Why didn't he stay? Your absence becomes a mirror. It forces her to confront her own value in your eyes, her place in your world, and in that mirror, she sees the outline of a man she cannot control. Walking away is not about manipulation. It is about clarity. You are not a servant of her moods. You are not a prisoner of her approval. You are a sovereign man, and sovereignty is felt most strongly in silence. This is where the fear emerges. For her, the terror is not in losing a man who worships her. The terror is in losing the man who doesn't. The man whose identity does not collapse if she turns cold. The man whose steps do not falter when she withdraws her affection. You become mythic when you walk away, a figure not confined to her orbit, but one who orbits himself. And myths are far more powerful than men who are always present, always available, always needy. Think of the archetype of the wanderer, the man who comes, who is desired, but who leaves before he can be possessed. Every culture remembers him. He is carved into story because he represents freedom, the untouchable masculine spirit. If you cannot walk away, you cannot command respect. It does not matter how handsome, how wealthy, how charming you are. If your soul trembles at the thought of losing her, she senses it. And once she senses it, you are no longer dangerous. You are no longer magnetic. You are simply another man orbiting her sun. But when you walk, you reverse gravity. Suddenly, she orbits you. This is the truth men refuse to face. It is not love that makes you weak. It is fear of losing it. The man who fears loss becomes fragile. The man who accepts loss becomes untouchable. And women, whether they admit it or not, are wired to test for this strength. They test with distance. They test with silence. They test with coldness, not because they want you to fail, but because they want to know if your presence is rooted in power or in desperation. Every moment of hesitation, every pause in her warmth, is an invitation for you to show who you are. Most men fail. They grovel, they chase, they break, but the rare man, the one who smiles, stands, and leaves, he is remembered long after his footsteps fade. The question is simple. When that test comes, will you walk away? This is where respect begins. Respect is not born from constant presence. It is carved in the space you leave behind. When you step away, you awaken something ancient in her psyche. This is not about modern dating tricks or surface tactics. It is about archetypes that live deep in the unconscious. Carl Jung understood this. Relationships are not simply between two people, but between the hidden forces within them. The woman embodies the anima, the lure of mystery, beauty, and desire. The man embodies the animus, the pillar of direction, purpose, and strength. When the animus bends, when it kneels in fear of losing the anima, balance collapses, respect evaporates. But when the man walks away, he reclaims the animus archetype in its purest form, the warrior who obeys his mission above all. This is why walking away feels so magnetic. It is not cruelty, it is order. The man restores the natural polarity of desire. Silence becomes your weapon. Distance becomes your signal. And the paradox is that what feels like absence to her actually deepens your presence in her mind. She cannot escape the thought of the one who left, because the unconscious hates unfinished stories. Consider this: the hero who never leaves the village becomes background noise, but the hero who vanishes into the mountains, who follows a path no one else dares, becomes legend. His story is told around fires. His absence is more present than another man's daily begging. So it is with women. The man who stays, no matter what, becomes predictable. The man who leaves becomes unforgettable. You may think this is harsh, but it is psychological law. Desire is not nurtured by constant supply. Desire is sparked by tension, by uncertainty, by the possibility of loss. Without that tension, attraction starves. Stoicism understood this long before modern psychology. The Stoic man was not detached because he lacked emotion. He was detached because he mastered emotion. He did not chase what could not be controlled. He did not place his soul in the hands of fortune. Apply this to women. When you make her your world, you hand her the reins of your destiny. She feels the weight, and instead of gratitude, she feels disdain. But when you carry your own world inside you, when you are ready to lose her, rather than lose yourself, she feels the gravity of true masculine freedom. This is why women respect the man who walks away. He reveals a terrifying truth. He does not need her to be whole. He is whole already. And here lies the paradox again. When you no longer need, you are most desired. Think of power dynamics throughout history. The king who is desperate for approval is assassinated in whispers. The king who remains unmoved by flattery commands loyalty without asking. Women are no different. They are drawn to the king who cannot be swayed by their storms. Now look within yourself. How many times have you stayed too long? How many times have you bargained for affection, waited for her to decide your worth? Each time, you betrayed yourself. Each time, you handed away the throne of your own soul. Ask yourself right now, if she left tomorrow, would you crumble? Or would you walk? But you must reverse this. You must become the man who can walk away from anything, be it a woman, a deal, a friendship. Because the man who cannot walk away is not free. He is bound. And the bound man is never respected. The respect you seek is not found in her approval. It is found in your refusal to compromise your standards. She tests you because she wants to feel that strength. She wants to know You are not like the others who crumble at the sight of her tears, her silence, her anger. She wants to feel your spine, unshaken, unbent. And when you walk away, she feels it in full force. Walking away is not a tactic, it is an initiation. The moment you leave, you are reborn as sovereign. She may chase, she may return, she may hate you for it, but none of that matters. What matters is that you prove to yourself that you are not owned. And once you prove that to yourself, you become untouchable. Her respect is not given freely. It is earned through the willingness to lose her. Without that willingness, every word of confidence is hollow. Every display of strength is theater. But with it, even your silence speaks louder than speeches. And when you vanish, it is not silence she hears. It is thunder, the kind that shakes her soul with the memory of a man who could not be caged. Now ask yourself, can you bear the weight of that silence? Can you stand in the storm of her absence and remain unbroken? Because only then will you be the man she cannot forget. Every test she gives you is a mirror of this truth. It is not about her words, not about the surface of her actions. It is about what lies beneath. The unconscious drive to measure your depth, your strength, your freedom. When she pulls away, when she grows cold, when she threatens to leave, she is asking you one question. Are you bound to me, or are you bound to yourself? Most men fail here. They panic. They cling. They pour out affection as if desperation could buy desire. But the woman feels it instantly, the man's frame collapsing, his essence dissolving into need. Respect dies in that moment. Yet the rare man, the one who smiles, who thanks her silently in his heart for showing her hand, and who turns to walk into his own horizon, that man ignites something primal in her. Not just attraction, but awe. Because deep inside, every woman fears and craves the man she cannot fully own. This is not about cruelty. It is about alignment. When you walk away, you are not punishing her. You are honoring yourself. You are choosing truth over illusion, freedom over chains. And paradoxically, that very act redefines you in her eyes, not as another man competing for her, but as a man competing only with himself. In the language of psychology, this is detachment. In the language of archetypes, it is sovereignty. In the language of desire, it is power. The world of relationships is not gentle. It is war, disguised as love, tension cloaked in tenderness. Every smile contains a test, every silence a battlefield. To walk away is to raise your banner and declare, I do not fight for scraps. I fight only for what aligns with my essence. And once you carry that stance, you move differently. You speak with fewer words. You give less explanation because, you know, your presence is the gift, your absence, the warning. She feels it in every exchange. She knows she cannot play endlessly with a man who values himself above her approval. This is why so few men are remembered. They stay until they are forgotten. But the man who leaves is etched into memory with fire. He becomes the story she tells to herself when she lies awake, the one who slipped from her grasp, the one who refused to bend. You must become that story, not for her, but for you. Because a man who can walk away is a man who has conquered his greatest enemy, the fear of being alone. And once you conquer that fear, no one holds power over you, not her, not society, not even your own weakness. Practical truth follows from this. Set your standards and never betray them. If she crosses them, speak once, with clarity. If she continues, you do not argue, you do not beg, you do not shout, you walk. That silence will say what words cannot. You will be tested in this again and again. Women will probe, life will tempt, weakness will whisper, and each time, the choice will return, remain bound, or remain free. This is not about manipulation. It is about destiny. Because men who walk away are men who rise. They build empires. They create legacies. They forge themselves in solitude. The world bends to those who are not afraid to lose. So let her test. Let her withdraw. Let her play with silence. Your task is not to correct her. Your task is to stand unmoved. And if the time comes, to disappear without hesitation. That act alone separates the boys from the men, the desperate from the sovereign. And when you live this truth, women feel it before you even speak. Your energy tells them, you can stay, but I do not need you. That energy is rare, intoxicating, unforgettable. Remember this. Chains are made of fear, but freedom is forged in the fire of walking away. The man who can walk away is the man who commands respect without asking. The one who conquers himself cannot be conquered by her. If this message spoke to you, subscribe for more Stoic truths on power, psychology, and attraction.